good, but
Nope.
Don't start. All right. Look, let's go ahead and get into it. Ladies Takeover is here. Welcome all the people that are in here watching. But let's go ahead and start it right away. And Delilah, I'm going to come to you first. The Pro Bowl just happened, and I don't know how many people watched it, but I do got to shout out these two over here that did a Pro Bowl special last Sunday.
They did.
They did a great job. Definitely. But I love the way this question is. Is the Pro Bowl a thing of the past? I mean, I know former players are saying it ain't like it used to be.
Yeah. So like prime time, right? Neon Dion, right? He said, literally he tweeted, "Lord help me, I'm watching the Pro Bowl." And I remember we were so proud and appreciative of the accolade. We went to Hawaii to prove we were more than worthy. So we competed at practice and in the game. You know, I wanted you to know that prime was prime, no matter where I was, right? Because you know, Dion, like he's still one of my favorite players.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, and in a way, like the game is different. Like the skills challenge is still fun because the guys actually are still competitive, like, and they're still like, you know, they still go at it just because it's more skill based. Mm-hmm. But the game itself, like, I mean, I get it. Like, you know, Mac Jones went and showed out a little bit. At least Micah Parsons was, you know, competitive, which he said he modeled it after Sean Taylor because Sean Taylor used to go after guys. And that's what he said. He's like, I'm going to be that guy.
He can be Sean.
But that's basically what he was saying. He's like, I'm going to go out there and be just like that. And he was. Like, I think he was one of the few guys on defense that was actually out there playing
going out too.
You know, so like he was fun to watch, but the game in general was like, it was, I don't know. For me, it was like nails on a chalkboard. I was like, all right. And I just couldn't watch the whole thing. I caught highlights and I flipped back and forth and I was just like, all right. But the skills challenge, yeah, like that's still fun. I feel like that should be the main focus from now on.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. And Ash, you guys talked about it. As a matter of fact, you highlighted a certain event in the skills challenge where we might have potentially crowned a new fastest man. Did you boy Michael? Did we?
Michael Parsons did beat Mr. Cheetah in a race.
Wow.
So he is now the fastest man in the NFL. I said in the show, I don't care about the game at all. I said I probably wouldn't even watch most of it, and I didn't. I bet on it. I did not watch it. The game's lame. I don't blame the players though, because I also would not want to go out there and go hard and risk injury, especially now that they made this season a whole nother week. Like that's a lot to expect out of players. I get it's like an honor and everything, but I'm still not going to risk it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, they didn't even go out to pancakes with Ocho Cinco, right? That's how tired they were.
I was sad. I felt sad.
Dude, I was so salty about that for him. I was like, man, I would have gone out to IHOP with you.
Right. Come on now. Come on. But look, so in the game, it actually was kind of a defensive game. I know the score doesn't show that, but there was 3 return touchdowns, 2 pick sixes, and an interception. We talked about Micah because Micah, I mean, he was like Sean Taylor. He was like, look, this is an NFL game for me. You know what I mean? But Sydney, 45. I'm sorry, 41-35. It was 41-21 at a point, and then Kyler Murray came back late. Wonder where that was during the season, Kyler. I digress. But Sydney, what did you think of it? And are you in agreement? What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not what it was. First, Tyreek was busy in the AFC Championship, and Micah had like 3 weeks rest to get ready for that race. And I think that might have been the reason. But
why
he was jogging. Anyway, sorry about the game itself.
I'm sorry. Who on your team was there?
Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris.
Deontay had a good game too. Deontay
was
a
good version. Replacement.
He
wasn't voted in.
One of those pick sixes was by a starter, TJ Watt. It was swatted by TJ. There you go. Miles Garrett returned it.
Which I thought was funny. That's a funny dynamic. Miles Garrett and
TJ Watt.
TJ.
Yeah, being in on the same play, that was kind of cool. I mean, it's tough because I think the purpose of the Pro Bowl is to showcase their talent and seeing all those great players play against each other in a game. Like, that's what you want to see is that. And they obviously don't want to hurt themselves, so they don't go hard. So like we said on the show, I really do think that like a flag football game would be the kind of the what would work best for everybody, because the players get to go hard and not risk injury, and we get to watch them still showcase their talent, which is what is really what we want. Because like in the NBA All-Star game, you're just looking for dunks and 3-pointers and just the cool highlights, where you can't get that in the NFL game, because it's the highlights you look for are big hits and like stuff like that. That's what causes injury. So I do think it's a thing of the game itself is a thing of the past, but I think there's things you can do to still make it intriguing, because an all-star lineup is still what people look for, I think.
And I think like Stephon lining up against Trayvon, but they switch sides of the ball was fun.
Yeah,
so stuff
cool.
like that's fun, but if you're going into it expecting it to be like this hard hitting,
right? Yeah, they had Trayvon Diggs line up as receiver and Stephon as quarterback for a series, and that was cool. Like different things like that, like Jeff Saturday going out and hiking to the ball to Peyton Manning a couple years ago because he was his longtime center, but then that last year he was on the Packers, so they were on opposite teams. So like doing things like that is really cool for the Pro Bowl, and that's what it's about, is stuff like that. It's just unfortunate that the game is not a game, really. It's just kind of people going out and hanging out.
Well, yeah. And when I saw that first, when I saw George Kittle walking up the sidelines and you see the cameraman behind him, and George Kittle's like, hold up, I'm on the phone. And I'm like, wait a minute. Your offense is on the field. What do you mean you're on the phone? Like, it's ridiculous. But it's funny. I went back and I actually sent this to As It Sid. I went back and I looked at the 1983 Pro Bowl. That defense for the NFC was Mike Singletary, Lawrence Taylor, Leroy Selman, Ronnie Lott was back there, got Darryl Green. And these guys were balling. You know what I mean? Like Walter Payton was on the offense, and they were going up against just all, like most of these guys are Hall of Fame type players.
Right.
And these guys were balling out, and it was no letdown. There was no. Let's just, like what I saw when the running backs go in the middle and everybody basically said, tag, you're down.
Yeah.
It was like, what I get injuries, but give me some kind of football now. Especially with it being the only week that we don't have football. It's like.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think to Sydney's point, like flag football, just expand the skills, like just focus on the skills, like do more like a second day of maybe not an actual game, but like, I don't know, I just feel like since I get it, like we're saying, people want to avoid injuries now they're going to, the longer season, now they're going to be flying more, right? Because they're going to Germany and Mexico. So it's like, so it's going to be a very hectic season. So I don't know. I feel like they need to do something to kind of re-energize the Pro Bowl, because they've talked about it too. Like people are not watching it anymore. Like their ratings have gone down, but like dramatically. It's like,
now, does that have anything to do with? Because you remember, it used to be after the Super Bowl. Do you think that has something to do with? Do you think it has something to do with it being in the beginning? Because you're missing out. One of the things I noticed about the '83 game was the Washington had just lost to the Raiders in the Super Bowl. But all of their starters were there. You know what I mean? All the starters for Washington, the starters for the Raiders, all of them were there still hanging out because it was after the Super Bowl.
So it was like a rematch.
Right. You know what I mean? And it's funny because then we won. We won in the daggone Super Bowl.
It didn't matter.
No, it didn't matter. It didn't. But I just thought that was crazy. I thought that was crazy because they actually balled out. They were all there.
Right.
So I think we're missing a couple great players. I think we can say with Burrow and Mixon and Jamar Chase and whatnot. But it's a shell of what it used to be. It is. And it absolutely is.
So like Delilah's point about the viewings, I think the thing is it is still highly viewed. It was viewed more than the NBA championship, NHL championship, and baseball's World Series. Like it's the Pro Bowl was, which is like, so compared to like other NFL games, it's not as highly viewed, but it's still more than other sports. So it's like, I think they're going to do it because of that. Wow. Really. Yeah, it was crazy. I saw that stat the other day, and I was like, "Wow!" Like, still more people watch that than the World Series in the finals.
I could understand the World Series. I think a lot of people weren't cheering for a lot of.
There it is. Got some trash cans we can knock. Anyways, we got to move on. We are talking NFL. We're going to move on to the next segment on here. Ladies